Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum, dear students. I hope you all are fine. Today I will discuss anatomy of prevertebral region with its contents and a part of paravertebral region with you people. Prevertebral region, as the name indicates, it is present anterior to the vertebral column. It contains 4 prevertebral or the anterior vertebral muscles, vertebral artery and joints of neck. Similarly, the paravertebral region, it contains scalene or the lateral vertebral muscles, cervical plexus along with its branches including phrenic nerve and the cervical pleura. So first of all, let's talk about the prevertebral muscles. There are 4 prevertebral or anterior vertebral muscles including longus colli, longus capitis, rectus capitis anterior and anterior scalene muscle. These 4 muscles are called prevertebral or anterior vertebral muscles. These muscles lie directly posterior to the retropharyngeal space and medial to the neurovascular plane of cervical and brachial plexus and subclavian artery. Before moving towards the attachments of prevertebral muscles, I would like to show you some bony features of cervical vertebrae. I will not go into details of the bony features of cervical vertebrae, but tell you the bony features that are related to the attachment of the prevertebral muscles. So we have 7 cervical vertebrae, out of which first, second and 7th vertebra, they are called atypical cervical vertebra, and 3rd, 4th, 5th and 6th cervical vertebra are called typical cervical vertebra. So here I have shown you the first cervical vertebra, which is atypical, and it is called atlas vertebra. This is C1, and on the other hand I have shown you a typical cervical vertebra. So we will see some important bony features which are relevant to the attachment of the prevertebral muscles. So this is C1 or the atlas vertebra. You can see the C1 is not having body, but it is having this anterior arch and posterior arch, and you can see it is having this anterior tubercle and posterior tubercle along these arches. Then on the atlas vertebra you can see these are the superior articular facets which articulate with the occipital condyles and form atlanto-occipital joint. So these are superior articular facets, and on lateral aspect of these superior articular facets, this is a part of the bone which is called lateral mass. So this is the lateral mass. We will discuss it in detail later on. Here you have to keep in mind that the anterior tubercle and the posterior tubercles, they are present along the anterior and posterior arch of the C1 or the atlas vertebra. Then on the other hand you can see that on the typical vertebra we have this body of the vertebra, and these are the vertebral arches. You can see this is the transverse process of the cervical vertebra, typical cervical vertebra, which is having this foramen transversarium, and this transverse process is having this anterior tubercle and posterior tubercle. So muscle fibers, some muscle fibers take origin from these tubercles and some are inserted onto these bony landmarks. So this was important to show you. So keep in mind that this transverse process of typical cervical vertebra is having anterior tubercle and posterior tubercle, while the atlas vertebra is having anterior tubercle and the posterior tubercle along its arches. So let's start with the prevertebral muscles. This table is showing the attachment, innervation and main action of the prevertebral muscle. First 3 muscles including longus colli, longus capitis and rectus capitis anterior, these 3 muscles, they get their origin from this inferior attachment and they are inserted at this superior attachment. I will show you with the help of diagrams. While the anterior scalene muscle that is getting its origin from the transverse process of C3 to C6 vertebrae, and it gets inserted on the outer border of first rib. If we talk about the main action of these prevertebral muscles, so these are weak flexors of head and neck, and some fibers of longus colli muscle, they also rotate the neck to the opposite side if it is acting unilaterally. Now we will study longus colli and longus capitis muscle in detail. Longus colli muscle, it extends from atlas to the third thoracic vertebra, and it has three parts having upper oblique, middle vertical part, and lower oblique part. So this is the longus colli muscle on both sides, which extends from the atlas vertebra to the upper three thoracic vertebra. So first of all we will see its upper oblique part. This is the upper oblique part. Its fibers arises from the anterior tubercles of transverse process of C3, C4 and C5 cervical vertebra. You can see this is the base of the skull, and you are having its anterior view. This is base of the skull, this is occipital bone, and this is first cervical vertebra, that is atlas. This is second cervical vertebra, which is called axis. This is third, and this is fourth cervical vertebra. So the upper oblique fibers of the longus colli muscle, they arise from the anterior tubercles of transverse process of C3, C4 and C5 cervical vertebra. So you can see these are the fibers which are originating from here, and they get inserted on the anterior tubercle of the C1, that is एटलस वर्टिब्रा. एटलस पे मैंने आपको वर्टिब्रल आर्चेस दिखाई थी, और ये आप क्योंकि इसका एंटीरियर व्यू देख रहे हो तो यहाँ पे एंटीरियर ट्यूबरकल प्रेजेंट होता है. तो ये जो अपर ऑब्लिक फाइबर्स ऑफ लॉन्गस कोलाई मसल हैं, ये ऑन द एंटीरियर ट्यूबरकल ऑफ एटलस पे इंसर्ट हो जाएंगे. देन इसका जो सेकेंड पार्ट है दैट इज़ मिडल वर्टिकल पार्ट. ठीक है जी, जो मिडल इसका वर्टिकल पार्ट होता है दैट अराइजेज फ्रॉम द बॉडी ऑफ द फिफ्थ, सिक्स एंड सेवन सर्वाइकल वर्टिब्रा. ये देखो ये फाइबर्स अराइज कर रहे हैं फ्रॉम द बॉडीज़. इसके अलावा इसके कुछ फाइबर्स अराइज करते हैं फ्रॉम अपर थ्री थोरेसिक वर्टिब्रा. यहाँ से बॉडी ऑफ द फर्स्ट, सेकंड और थर्ड जो थोरेसिक वर्टिब्रा हैं उसकी बॉडी से भी इसके फाइबर्स अराइज करके ऊपर जाके ये वर्टिकली पास करते हैं और इंसर्ट हो जाते हैं on the bodies of second, third and fourth cervical vertebra. Alright, this is the part of longus colli which is called middle vertical part. Then we have inferior oblique part of the muscle. This is the inferior inferior oblique part of the longus colli muscle. So it is getting its origin from the bodies of upper 2 or upper 3 thoracic vertebra, and it gets inserted onto the anterior tubercle of transverse process of C5 and C6 cervical vertebra. This one is the C5 and this is C6 of the cervical vertebra, and these are the transverse processes of these vertebra, and the lower oblique fibers, they get attached to the anterior tubercle of C5 and C6 cervical vertebra. So this is all about the longus colli. Then we have another muscle which is called longus capitis muscle. This is longus capitis muscle. It overlaps the longus colli muscle. It arises from the anterior tubercle of transverse process of third, fourth, you can see third, fourth, fifth and सिक्स सर्वाइकल वर्टिब्रा के ट्रांसवर्स प्रोसेस के एंटीरियर ट्यूबरकल से ये फाइबर्स अराइज करते हैं, एंड दे आर इंसर्टेड ऑन द बेस ऑफ द स्कल ऑन द inferior surface of occipital bone. Now we will see the remaining prevertebral muscles that are rectus capitis anterior and scalenus anterior muscle. So the rectus, this one you can see, this is rectus capitis anterior muscle. This rectus capitis anterior muscle, this arises, this is atlas bone, So this arises from the lateral mass of the C1 or the atlas vertebra, and it is going to insert on the base of the skull at the occipital bone. So it extends from the lateral mass of the first cervical vertebra to the base of the skull at the occipital bone. All right, then we have another prevertebral muscle which is very important and is called scalenus anterior muscle. These are the fibers of scalenus anterior muscle. You can see on the both sides, you can see the fibers of scalenus anterior muscle. So these fibers, it is going to originate from the anterior tubercles of transverse process of second, third, fourth, fifth and sixth cervical vertebra, and these fibers of the scalenus anterior muscle, they are then going to insert on the outer or the superior surface of first rib. This is first rib and this is second rib. So the fibers of scalenus anterior muscle, they are going to insert on the superior surface of first rib. So up till now we are done with the prevertebral muscles, and now comes the paravertebral muscles, which include first of all this rectus capitis lateralis muscle on both sides, rectus capitis lateralis muscle. Then we have this splenius capitis muscle, which comes under the heading of paravertebral muscles. This is splenius capitis muscle. Then we have levator scapulae, middle scalene muscle and the scalenus posterior muscle. This is scalenus posterior muscle. These five muscles, these are collectively called paravertebral muscles. Scalene muscles. We have already discussed scalenus anterior muscle with the prevertebral muscles, and now we will see scalenus medius and scalenus posterior muscle. So these are the fibers of scalenus medius muscle. These fibers, they get their origin from the anterior tubercles of transverse process of third, fourth, fifth and sixth cervical vertebrae, and these fibers, they get attached to the outer or the superior surface of first rib. This is first rib, this is second rib. So they get attached on the superior surface of first rib. Then we have this posterior scalenus muscle. Its origin is overlapped by this middle scalenus muscle. It arises from the posterior tubercles of transverse process of C4 to C6 cervical vertebrae, and then it is inserted on the outer surface of second rib, this posterior scalene muscle. Then in this diagram you can see this is first rib. मैंने आपको पहले बताया था कि जो स्केलिनियस एंटीरियर मसल है वो भी फर्स्ट रिब की सुपीरियर सरफेस पे आके अटैच होता है. ऑलराइट, तो यहाँ पे आप लोग देख लो कि जो फर्स्ट रिब होती है उसके ऊपर एक ग्रूव फॉर सबक्लेवियन आर्टरी होता है, जिसके अंदर से जहाँ से सबक्लेवियन आर्टरी पास करती है. ऑलराइट, और आप लोग पहले पढ़ चुके हो कि ऑन द आउटर बॉर्डर ऑफ फर्स्ट रिब द सबक्लेवियन आर्टरी बिकम्स एक्सिलरी आर्टरी. ऑलराइट जी. देन जो स्केलिनियस एंटीरियर मसल जो है दैट इज़ इंसर्टेड ऑन द सुपीरियर सरफेस ऑफ फर्स्ट रिब बिटवीन द सबक्लेवियन आर्टरी एंड सबक्लेवियन वेन. ये इंपॉर्टेंट रिलेशंस हैं. इन दोनों आर्टरी और वेन के दरमियान में स्केलिनियस एंटीरियर मसल इंसर्ट होता है ऑन द सुपीरियर सरफेस ऑफ फर्स्ट रिब. देन वी हैव स्टडीड के जो स्केलिनियस मीडियस मसल है that is also inserted on the superior surface of first rib, but it is inserted behind the groove for subclavian artery. ये यहाँ पे आके insert होगा scalenius medius muscle. Then we have seen के जो scalenius posterior muscle है that is going to insert on the superior or the outer surface of second rib. So ये second rib पे आपको posterior scalenius muscle की insertion दिखाई हुई है. This is a schematic diagram to show you the relations of scalenus anterior muscle. This diagram will help you to memorize the relations of scalenus anterior muscle, which are very important from the examination point of view. So we have this scalenus anterior muscle here. This is scalenus anterior muscle, and this muscle is sternocleidomastoid muscle, which is attached on the clavicle. So these are the structures which will be present anterior to this scalenus anterior muscle, and these structures are present posterior to this scalenus anterior muscle. So first of all, let's talk about the anterior relations of scalenus anterior muscle. Just anterior to this scalenus anterior muscle, there is this phrenic nerve. This one is phrenic nerve, which is covered by this layer of fascia, which is called pre-vertebral fascia. So first of all, phrenic nerve and then pre-vertebral fascia. Then you can see we have this inferior belly of omohyoid muscle, and the scalenus anterior muscle is related anteriorly to the lateral part of the carotid sheath with the internal jugular vein. You can see here ascending cervical artery, transverse cervical artery, suprascapular artery, and anterior jugular vein. These all are the structures which are present anterior to this scalenus anterior muscle, and further anteriorly we have this sternocleidomastoid muscle and clavicle. So these are the anterior relations of scalenus anterior muscle. Then posteriorly, posterior to the scalenus anterior muscle, there will be lower trunk of this brachial plexus, second part of subclavian artery, this suprapleural membrane and pleura. These all are the structures which are related posteriorly to the scalenus anterior muscle. This diagram represents the medial relations of scalenus anterior muscle. This is the scalenus anterior muscle of left side, and this is left subclavian artery. As you all know that the medial border of the scalenus anterior muscle divides the subclavian artery into three parts. So first of all, the structure which is related medial to this scalenus anterior muscle, this is the first part of subclavian artery, and the branches that arise from the subclavian artery, they include this one, vertebral artery and inferior thyroid artery. These are the vessels or the arteries which arise from the subclavian artery, and they are related medial to the scalenus anterior muscle. Then carotid sheath, it covers these all structures which are present medial to the scalenus anterior muscle, and on the left side you can see thoracic duct is also present, only on the left side. Then on the lateral border of the scalenus anterior, you can see there is the subclavian artery which is emerging from the lateral border, and from here it enters into the posterior triangle of the neck, and the lateral border is also related to the trunks of the brachial plexus. Now we will study another component of pre-vertebral region, that is vertebral artery. So as you all know that vertebral artery, it arises from the first part of subclavian artery. You can see in the diagram also, it arises from the first part of a subclavian artery, then it runs upwards, and then it passes from the foramen transversarium of 6 cervical vertebrae. Then it passes through the foramen transversarium of upper 6 cervical vertebrae, and when it emerges from the foramen transversarium of first cervical vertebrae, that is atlas, then it winds backward around the lateral mass of the atlas, and then it enters into the cranial cavity through foramen magnum, and in the cranial cavity it joins with the vertebral artery of the other side at the lower border of pons, and it forms basilar artery. Now the parts of vertebral artery. Vertebral artery is having 4 parts. The first part of the vertebral artery, it is from the origin of the vertebral artery from subclavian artery to the foramen transversarium of 6 cervical vertebra. This part of the vertebral artery is the first part of vertebral artery, and it lies in a triangular space which is called scaleno-vertebral triangle. Then the other second part of the vertebral artery, it lies within the foramen transversarium of upper six cervical vertebrae. Then emerging from the transverse process of atlas vertebrae, this part of the vertebral artery, it lies in the suboccipital triangle, and this is called third part of the vertebral artery, and fourth part lies in the cranial cavity. So these are the four parts of a vertebral artery. Now let's have a look on the boundaries of scaleno-vertebral triangle. So this is a triangular space. This one is called scaleno-vertebral triangle. You can see its medial boundary is formed by the inferior oblique fibers of longus colli muscle. You know that this is longus colli, which is having three parts, and the inferior oblique fibers of longus colli muscle, they form the medial boundary of scaleno-vertebral triangle, and then you can see that its apex is directed upward and base is downward, and the lateral boundary or the wall is formed by this scaleneus anterior muscle. These are the fibers from scaleneus anterior muscle, and base that is directed downward, it is formed by the first part of subclavian artery, and apex is projecting upward, which is present at the transverse process of six cervical vertebrae. Alright, this is first cervical vertebrae, this is second, third, fourth, fifth and sixth cervical vertebrae. At its transverse process, the apex of the scaleno-vertebral triangle is located. And if we talk about the contents of this scaleno-vertebral triangle, as you all know that first branch from the first part of subclavian artery is the vertebral artery. Here the subclavian artery will give rise to vertebral artery, and which is a content of this scaleno-vertebral triangle. And apart from the vertebral artery, cervical part of the sympathetic trunk is also a content of this scaleno-vertebral triangle. Branches of vertebral artery. First part of the vertebral artery gives off no branches, while the second part gives off spinal branches that enter the vertebral canal through intervertebral foramen and supply spinal cord, meninges and vertebrae. Then the third part of the vertebral artery, it supplies, as it is located in the suboccipital triangle, so it supplies suboccipital muscles. And the fourth part of the vertebral artery, it is located in the cranial cavity and gives off branches there in the cranial cavity. So you will study those branches or that part of the vertebral artery later on. So up till now we are done with the prevertebral muscles, paravertebral muscles and vertebral artery. Now comes the third constituent of the prevertebral region, that is joints of the neck, and they include atlanto-occipital joint and atlanto-axial joint. First of all, we will see the atlanto-occipital joint. This is a synovial joint of ellipsoid variety. You can see here this is the occipital bone. We are having the view, the posterior view of the skull and the vertebral column. So this is the occiput, and this one is the C1 or the first atypical cervical vertebra, which is called atlas, and this is second cervical vertebra which is called axis, and this is the odontoid process of the second cervical vertebra, which articulates with the inner surface of anterior arch of C1. So here we will see the articular surfaces of atlanto-occipital joint. You can see this is the occipital condyle of one side and occipital condyle of other side. So these both are the occipital condyles. They articulate with the superior articular facets of the C1, that is first cervical vertebra. So this is the articular surface of atlanto-occipital joint, which is a synovial joint of ellipsoid variety. Ligaments of atlanto-occipital joint. There are three important ligaments and the membranes which are related to the atlanto-occipital joint. First one is fibrous capsule, then anterior and posterior atlanto-occipital membranes. So this is the anterior view, this is posterior view, and this is right lateral view. You can see this is the base of the skull, and this one is first cervical vertebrae, that is atlas. So the first ligament, which is fibrous ligament or the fibrous capsule, this is present here. Fibrous capsule, it covers the joint, and it is thickened posteriorly, and anteromedially it is slightly thin. So this is the fibrous capsule. Then the other ligament, which is anterior atlanto-occipital membrane. So this one is the anterior atlanto-occipital membrane, which extends from the anterior margin of foramen magnum to the upper border of anterior arch of C1. So this is the extension of the anterior atlanto-occipital membrane between the anterior margin of foramen magnum to the upper border of anterior arch of first cervical vertebrae. Laterally it get merged with the fibrous capsule, and anteriorly it is strengthened by this ligament, which is called anterior longitudinal ligament. It is present anterior to the cervical vertebrae and attached on the bodies of the on the anterior aspect of bodies of the cervical vertebrae. So it strengthens this anterior atlanto-occipital membrane. Then we have posterior atlanto-occipital membrane. You can see here, this is posterior atlanto-occipital membrane. It extends from the posterior margin of foramen magnum to the upper border of posterior arch of atlas vertebrae. Infralaterally it is having a free margin which arches over the vertebral artery and the first cervical nerve, and laterally it also merge with the fibrous capsule of the joint. So this is the posterior atlanto-occipital membrane, which covers the joint posteriorly, and in this diagram, in the lateral view, you can see this is the fibrous capsule of the atlanto-occipital joint which surrounds the joint. So these are the ligaments of atlanto-occipital joint, including fibrous capsule and anterior and posterior atlanto-occipital membranes. Movements at the atlanto-occipital joint. So there are total 3 movements at the atlanto-occipital joint. Along the transverse axis they include flexion and extension, and along the AP axis there is lateral flexion. So this flexion at this atlanto-occipital joint is brought about by the longus capitis and the rectus capitis anterior muscle, and this is the extension that is in the backward position or the direction. This is brought about by the rectus capitis posterior major and minor muscles, the obliquus capitis superior muscle, and the splenius capitis and the upper part of the trapezius muscle. They are involved in the extension. Then the third movement is the lateral flexion at the AP axis. See this lateral flexion of the atlanto-occipital joint, it is brought about by the rectus capitis lateralis muscle, semispinalis capitis, and splenius capitis muscle, along with the sternocleidomastoid and the trapezius muscle. These are the muscles which are involved in the right lateral flexion along the AP axis at atlanto-occipital joint. Atlanto-axial joint. This joint, as the name indicate, it forms between the first and the second cervical vertebrae. So there are total 3 atlanto-axial joints, 2 lateral atlanto-axial joints and 1 median atlanto-axial joint. So let's have a look on the articular surfaces of these lateral and median atlanto-axial joint. You can see this is the atlas vertebra, that is C1, and having this superior articular facets, and on the inferior surface it will be having this inferior articular facets. And this is the second cervical vertebrae, that is axis, and this one is the odontoid process of the second cervical vertebrae, or it is also called dens. So, if we talk about the articular surfaces of lateral atlantoaxial joint, which are two in number. So, the articular surface include the inferior articular facet of C1, that is atlas vertebrae, and superior articular facet of C2. On the other side, same will be the case. The inferior articular facet of C1 and the superior articular facet of C2, they both articulate on both sides to form the lateral atlantoaxial joint. Alright, this is a joint of plane variety. Then we have this central or the median atlantoaxial joint. The articular surface include the inner surface of anterior arch of atlas vertebrae, and anteriorly this dens articulates with this surface, that is the inner surface of the anterior arch of the C1, and posteriorly it is attached to the this transverse ligament of the first cervical vertebrae. This is attached on the inner surface of lateral mass of the C1. This is the transverse ligament, and this median atlantoaxial joint, it has two separate synovial cavities. One is anterior and the other one is posterior synovial cavity. Now the ligaments of atlantoaxial joint. The lateral atlantoaxial joint is strengthened by the fibrous capsule, anterior longitudinal ligament and ligamentum flavum, while the median atlantoaxial joint, it is having a capsular ligament and a transverse ligament. Here you can see the transverse ligament, which is attached on the medial surface of lateral mass of first cervical vertebrae. Movements at atlantoaxial joint. Movements at all three joints are rotatory and they take place around a vertical axis. The dens forms a pivot around which the atlas rotates, and the movement is limited by the alar ligament. The rotatory movements are brought about by the obliquus capitis inferior, rectus capitis posterior major, and splenius capitis of one side, along with the sternocleidomastoid of other side. Now there are some ligaments which connect the axis with the occipital bone, and these are very important ligaments. They include membrana tectoria, cruciate ligament, apical ligament and alar ligament. So first of all, let's talk about the membrana tectoria. This is the membrana tectoria. It is cut from here. This is also membrana tectoria. This is basically the extension of posterior longitudinal muscle. This is posterior longitudinal muscle, and when it extends, it gives rise to membrana tectoria, which is attached to the posterior surface of body of second cervical vertebrae. Inferiorly and superiorly, it is attached to the basi-occiput. This is membrana tectoria. Then we have this cruciate ligament. As you all know that from the inner surface of the lateral mass of C1, there is a ligament which is called transverse ligament. So in the median plane, this transverse ligament projects some fibers in upward and downward direction. So the fibers which are projected in upward direction, they are called superior longitudinal band of cruciate ligament, which is cut from here, and the some fibers which are projecting in downward direction, they are called inferior longitudinal band of the cruciate ligament. So this is the cruciate ligament that arises from the this transverse ligament. Then we have apical ligament. From the apex of the, this is odontoid process or the dens. From the apex of the odontoid process, another ligament arises which is called apical ligament, and this is the continuation of notochord. Then on the from the lateral sides of the dens, there is another ligament which arises. It is called alar ligament, and it is then attached to the occipital condyles, and this is a very strong ligament. It limits the flexion and the rotation of the head. So these are very important ligaments which connect the axis with the occipital bone. एक दफ़ा दोबारा देख लो. This is the membrana tectoria. Then this is transverse ligament. Then anterior projecting fibers which are superior longitudinal band of the cruciate ligament. Then inferior projecting fibers from the transverse ligament. These fibers are inferior longitudinal band of the cruciate ligament. Then we have this alar ligament on both sides of dens and the occipital condyles.